Comet's Excellent Adventure is the first episode of the eighth and final season of Full House. Quite emotional that I'm rewatching the final season now. And this episode is also quite emotional. This is directed by Joel Zwick, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode pretty much chronologically and share some thoughts. Usually with Full House, I'll talk about each part of the narrative in turn, but with this one, everything kind of connects together. But I will talk very briefly about a few things first. Starts off with everybody looking for the remote control. Comet's got it. It's unusual to have so many characters in the intro. I quite liked it. We also have a character called Nelson, played by Jason Marsden, and he's very rich. And DJ has been dating him, but she decides ultimately to break it off. Kimmy's devastated about this, but as DJ explains, she's not going to date somebody just because they have money. And Kimmy's still not convinced that this was the right decision. It was an interesting part of the narrative. It was wrapped up quite quickly. Nelson's a pretty interesting character. It worked quite well. The main narrative focuses on Jesse and Michelle, and of course, Comet. Jesse has been so distracted with everything that the Rippers vote him out of the band. And I feel like that shouldn't be possible. I know nothing about band etiquette, but that just seems really harsh. And he's obviously devastated about this, and he's really distracted, trying to get a solo gig. Michelle tells Jesse Comet needs walking because his legs are crossed, which I absolutely adored. And Jesse, distracted, told her to just go and walk Comet by herself. So she does. And she takes Comet out, and very quickly, Comet sees a car with a giant hot dog on it, and he proceeds to chase the car. And Michelle's not allowed to cross the street. So she has lost Comet, and it's kind of heartbreaking. And Stephanie finds Michelle very quickly, so they go off and find Comet. We, the viewer, can actually see where Comet is going, and it's quite nice to see a lot of the outdoors and to see a lot of what I assume is San Francisco. I don't know if it's filmed entirely in San Francisco, but certainly it's really nice to see the area. This is probably the most time we've spent outdoors in a Full House episode. Maybe excluding the Disney episodes, maybe, but certainly it's quite a refreshing change, and it was really nice. Comet then sees a beautiful lady dog, and they go off on an adventure. I'm not sure who the dog is. Neither of the dogs are listed on IMDb at the time of recording, so if anybody knows who plays the other dog, please let me know. I'd love to know if the dog has been in anything else. And we can see them having this incredible adventure. Meanwhile, Stephanie and Michelle are frantic. They then bump into DJ and Kimmy, and Danny and Jesse then find out. And Jesse, to his credit, realizes what he did. He realized that he was distracted. He wasn't paying attention to Michelle. Basically, this is his fault. And Danny and Jesse go to try and help, and then they bump into Danny and Becky because they're outdoors live from Wake Up San Francisco. So that was a nice way to bring them into it as well, and to keep things outdoors as well. And then they're live, so they put the appeal out there saying, if you've seen Comet, let us know. And then Michelle reminded Comet of their address. She said the street that they live on, which was probably a really bad idea, because Danny and Becky are public figures on Wake Up San Francisco. Giving out their street maybe wasn't the smartest, but I don't blame Michelle for that. And then we have a final scene. Everything moved really, really quickly in this. We're going through this really, really quickly. Jesse's let go from the band. He is distracted, tells Michelle to walk Comet. Michelle loses Comet. Everybody gives chase. Comet is having an absolutely brilliant time. And then we have the final scene. And it's Jesse and Michelle outdoors. It's much darker now. Clearly a lot of time has passed. And Michelle's talking about how she remembered how he used to play with his pork chop, his squeaky pork chop. And it gets quite moving and emotional. And then we hear the pork chop squeaking. And it's Comet. And he's come home. And I started crying. Because, yes, it's emotional, but also because I've been through it. My cat, when she was 2, she's 11 now, so this was a long time ago. But 9 years ago, that's insane. When she was 2, she went missing for 3 days, which was so unusual, and I was just devastated. And I can still remember going to the front door on the third morning, or the third morning, I can't remember, but going to the front door, and she was just sitting there as if nothing had happened. And that's how Comet came home. I guess he just realised it was getting late. Maybe he was feeling hungry. and he came home and had a chew of his pork chop, and it was just so beautiful, and just the relief. I know what it feels like. And it was just an incredible moment, and everybody gathered around and welcomed him home, and it was fabulous. So it's a very chaotic episode. There's a lot going on, but also not a lot happening at the same time. It's basically Jesse being frantic and trying to find a way forward with his music, Michelle and everybody else frantic trying to find Comet, and of course, Comet just running around San Francisco having a brilliant time with his new lady friend. So it's it's a lot of fun. It's quite a strong way to start things off, quite an emotional way to start things off as well. And I'm looking forward to watching the rest of season 8. I'll be devastated when it's finished, of course. And in general, this is a good episode. It was nice to get to know Nelson, and everybody else obviously had an important role to play. Maybe Joey, Danny, and Becky not so much, but they were still involved. And ultimately, no complaints from me. Comet's excellent adventure is a pretty great episode of Full House and a good start to season 8.